So, what if I told you that one of the absolute best things you can do for your heart, for your mood, and even for how long you live is to just sit in a hot room? It sounds kind of crazy, right? Well, today we're going to dive into the really powerful science-backed secrets of deliberately exposing yourself to heat. I mean, let's just get right to it. It sounds almost too simple, too good to be true. Can getting into a hot room, like a sauna, actually help you live a longer life? Well, the answer from the science is a huge, resounding yes. And the numbers? The numbers are genuinely shocking. Let's start with this number right here, 50%. Just let that hang there for a second. What on earth could a 50% improvement have to do with something as basic as sitting in a hot room? That 50%, that is the reduction in your risk of dying from a cardiovascular event. Yeah, a massive study in 2018 found that people who used a sauna 4 to 7 times a week had half the risk of people who only went once. Let that sink in for a moment. This isn't some tiny little tweak. This is a total game changer. So you've got to be asking, how is this even possible? Well, it turns out your body has this incredible internal heat engine, right? A whole set of switches that get flipped on when you expose yourself to these high temperatures, and they unlock some truly amazing benefits. It all starts with what you can think of as a heat hotline directly to your brain. See, neurons in your skin feel the heat. They fire off a signal that travels right up your spinal cord, and it alerts this tiny part of your brain called the POA. Now, you can think of the POA as your body's master thermostat, and it's about to kick off this whole cascade of incredible responses. And okay, this is where it gets really wild. Just look at this comparison. Your body's response to just sitting in the heat is almost identical to a cardiovascular workout. Your heart rate shoots up to 100, even 150 beats per minute. Your blood flow increases. Your heart pumps more blood with every single beat. You are literally getting a cardio session for your heart and your blood vessels without any of the impact on your joints. Now, let's zoom in, like way down to the cellular level. When you're in the heat, your body deploys this amazing emergency repair crew. They're called heat shock proteins. You know how an egg white changes when you cook it? That's the protein changing shape. Well, heat can do that to the proteins in your cells, too. And these HSPs are like tiny mechanics that rush in to protect and refold those proteins, keeping all your cellular machinery running just right. The heat also flips on the special longevity gene. It's called FOXO3. And its job is basically to repair your DNA and to clean out all the old, junky, damaged cells. And get this, people who are born with a more active version of this very gene are nearly 3 times more likely to live to be 100. So using deliberate heat is like a way for you to manually turn up the volume on this incredible gene you already have. But the benefits, they're not just physical. Nope. In fact, one of the most powerful effects is on your mind. And it's all based on this fascinating paradox. To feel better in the long run, you actually have to feel a little bit worse first. You know that feeling, right? That antsy, agitated feeling you get in a sauna? That little voice that starts screaming, "Get me out of here!" Well, that's not just in your head. It's actually caused by a specific molecule that your brain releases called dynaphorin. And this slide right here shows the magic of that cycle. The heat makes your body release that dynorphin, and that's what makes you feel uncomfortable. But here's the trick. When dynorphin latches onto its receptors, your body responds by making the receptors for your feel-good endorphins more sensitive. So by leaning into that temporary discomfort, you are literally rewiring your brain to feel more pleasure and more joy in your day-to-day life. It's amazing. Okay, so the science is absolutely incredible. But how do we actually use this information, right? Let's get into the practical playbook for using heat to unlock all these benefits safely and effectively. Remember that crazy data from the beginning? Here it is again, but laid out visually so you can really see it. You can see this clear dose-response relationship. Going from once a week to 2 or 3 times drops your cardiovascular risk by 27%. But then you push that to 4 to 7 times, and bam, you hit that incredible 50% reduction. So when it comes to longevity, frequency is everything. This chart is basically your cheat sheet. If your goal is longevity, you're looking for frequency, 4 to 7 short sessions every week. If it's for stress reduction, a couple of sessions is probably enough. But look at that bottom line, growth hormone. To get that particular benefit, you have to play by a completely different set of rules. And that brings us to our final and maybe our most dramatic benefit of all.
It's a massive hormone boost. But to get it, you basically have to throw that more is better rulebook right out the window.
16-fold. That's a 1,600% increase in one of the most important hormones your body has for repair, for metabolism, and for muscle growth. I mean, wow.
A really foundational study from back in 1986, which is still cited all the time, found what the researchers themselves called dramatic, really dramatic spikes in growth hormone from using a very specific sauna protocol. So the question is, how on earth did they pull off a 16x increase?
Well, the secret was to shock the system. But, and this is the most important part, to do it infrequently. They had people do 4 intense 30-minute sessions back to back, but only once a week. The reason is that your body is incredibly smart. It adapts really quickly. If you do this too often, the shock value is lost, and that hormone release just gets smaller and smaller. So for this specific goal, less is absolutely more. All right, one last practical tip. Timing matters. It turns out the best time for a sauna is usually late afternoon or evening. And why is that? Well, because after your core body temperature spikes in the heat, it overcorrects and then it drops. That big drop in temperature is one of the main signals your brain uses to start feeling sleepy. So, a sauna in the evening can be a super powerful tool for getting a great night's rest. So, when you boil it all down, the big takeaway here is that heat is a powerful form of good stress. It's something that challenges your body just enough to make it stronger, more resilient, and healthier in the long run. Which kind of leaves us with one final question to think about. Knowing how powerful this one form of discomfort can be, what other good stresses out there are you avoiding that might just hold the key to your next big breakthrough?